Hi, this is Annie Lupton of Boho Chic Fiber Co. Today I'm going to show you how to work a tubular bind off. This is a really nice way to create a finished ribbed edging. I use it on my pom-pom crop pattern on the sleeves and on the neckline. So I'm going to walk you through how to do this edging today. It creates a really nice rounded edge. The stitches kind of look like they curve over the front, and it makes for a really finished looking garment. So in order to do this, you're going to need your working yarn and needles, a pair of scissors to have on hand, a darning needle to have on hand as well, because at the end we're going to graft the stitches together, and then an extra needle that you can use as a cable needle. So I am going to show you this worked flat today because it's a little tricky to do it with my camera in the round. So when I finish a row, I'm actually going to just slide it on down to the end of the needles to work it again. And that way it'll give it, it'll be in the round. So for your first tubular row, in your pattern, you'll have been working 2x2 ribbing up to a certain point. So you're going to finish that length, however long you're supposed to do that for. And then you're going to work the first tubular bind off row. So for the first row, you're going to knit the first 2 stitches. Then you're going to bring the yarn to the front of your work, and you're going to slip the 2 purl stitches with the yarn in the front. And you're going to do that all the way around. So knit 2, bring the yarn to the front, and slip the next 2 stitches with the yarn in the front. So I'm sliding them back down as if I was working the next round. So for the second round of the tubular bind off, you're going to basically do the opposite of what we just did. So we're going to slip the first knit stitches, but this time we're keeping the yarn in the back of our work. And then we're going to pull it to the front, and we're going to purl those stitches that we had previously slipped. Bring the yarn to the back. We're going to slip those 2 knit stitches, the yarn in the back, and then bring it forward, and we're going to purl those purl stitches. So that's round 2. So in order to get to grafting the stitches together, we need to work a knit 1 by purl 1 ribbing. So in order to change from here where we have knit 2, purl 2, we're going to want to reorient our stitches. So this is when you want to bring in your extra needle. So in order to reorient the stitches, with your working needle, you're going to slip the first stitch, which is a knit stitch, and then you're going to take your cable needle, you're going to slip the next stitch, which is also a knit stitch, and you're going to actually hold that in the front of your work. So we have 1 knit and another knit. Then you're going to take your working needle, and you're going to slip the next stitch, which is a purl stitch, onto it, and then you're going to slip from your cable needle onto that needle. So now we have knit, purl, knit, and then we're going to slip the next 2 stitches, a purl and a knit. So essentially we're just getting them into a knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. We're not knitting or doing anything, we're just moving the stitches around. So don't worry about your yarn, you're not using that at all. So then we're going to repeat from slipping the knit stitch. So we're going to slip the next knit stitch onto a cable needle again, hold it in front. We're going to slip the purl stitch to the right hand needle, slip that stitch that was on the cable needle to the right hand needle as well. So that was a purl and a knit, and then you're going to slip the next 2 stitches again, a purl and a knit. We ran out, but you'll just continue that all the way around so that you'll have knit 1, purl 1 all the way. So now that our stitches are reoriented, I'm going to slide it back down. And even when you're working in the round, you'll have to slide it around too, because you'll be at the end of your work. So you want to start back at the beginning of your work again. So now we're going to work row 3 of our tubular bind off. We are going to basically do what we did in the tubular rows below, but with a 1 by 1 ribbing instead. So we're going to knit the first stitch, which is a knit stitch, bring the yarn to the front, slip the next stitch, which is a purl, and do that all the way around. Knit 1, bring the yarn to the front, slip. Knit 1, bring the yarn to the front, slip. I'm going to slide my stuff down. So the last tubular row, we're going to do the opposite just like we did earlier. So we're going to slip the knit stitch with the yarn in the back, bring the yarn to the front, and purl that purl stitch that we had previously slipped. Slip the knit stitch with the yarn in the back, bring the yarn to the front, purl the next stitch. You're going to do that all the way around. And if you were working one by one ribbing, then you just have to start, you don't have to worry about the part before reorienting it. You're just going to work those 2 rows I just worked to give yourself that tubular edge. Excuse me. So now that we're done with our tubular rows, we are going to slip the knit stitches to one needle and the purl stitches to another needle so that we can get ourselves set up for our Kitchener bind off. So what I like to do for this, you get into a little rhythm when you do it. You have 2 needles in your right hand. You're going to slip the knit stitch to the needle in the front, hold it in the front of your work. Slip the purl stitch to needle in the back. So knit, purl. Do that all the way across. So slip the knit stitch to the front, purl stitch to the back, knit stitch to the front, purl stitch to the back. And you're just going to do that all the way across your work. So once you're done, you'll have all the knit stitches in the front, all the purls in the back, and it'll be kind of open in the middle because of all those slip stitch rows. That's what creates this extra stretchy edging. So it'll be kind of funny looking like that. Now we have to sew these 2 ends together. We're going to slide it back down, cut yourself a length of yarn. Now we're going to do the seaming. Excuse me, I have a cold right now. So you're going to use your darning needle and thread it onto your yarn. Give yourself a nice bit of length if you're working it around a cuff or a neckline. You don't want to run out partway through. So to do the Kitchener stitch, first we need to do a setup. You're going to take your needle into the backhand needle, which is the purls, and you're going to insert it from the front to the back as if you were knitting, and then just pull that through. Not too tight, you want it to have a little give. And then you're going to go to the front hand needle, the first stitch, and you're going to enter your needle from the back to the front of that stitch and pull it through. You're keeping them on the needle, you're not taking them off at all yet. So now that we've worked that round, that setup, we're going to start doing the Kitchener stitch. So again, you're starting on the backhand needle. You're going to take your darning needle, you're going to insert it from the back to the front this time. And then you're going to remove that stitch off the left hand needle, so just push it off. And then you want to set up for the next stitch again. So you're going to insert from the front to the back this time and pull it through. So it's purl to pull it off, and then as if to knit and leave it on. And the front's the opposite. So we're going to as if to knit, so front to back, and pull it off. And then as if to purl, back to front, and leave it on. So back to the backhand needle. Back to front, as if to purl, pull it off. Front to back, into the next stitch, as if to knit, and leave it on. Front to back, as if to knit, and pull it off the front needle. Back to front, as if to purl, and leave it on. You're just going to do this all the way around. Back to front, as if to purl, pull it off. Front to back, as if to knit, leave it on. Front to back, pull it off. Back to front, leave it on. When you get to your last 2 final stitches on the needles, you're just going to purl it off, I knit it off. It's a little hard to see because it's a small piece, but our stitches wrap around like so. So now we have that nice tubular edge, and we're all set. If you have any questions about this, how to do this, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll try to clarify below. Again, this is worked in the round. I was just showing it to you flat for simplicity's sake, but you are working it in the round in the pattern. And yep, if you have any questions, let me know. And if there's any other techniques I could be helpful to show you, I'd be happy to do that as well. Leave me a comment or send me an email. Have a good day.